Hey, this is Darren from Property Prosperity. I thought I'd have a chat today about the Olympics again, and I thought I'd have a bit of a chat to you about, I don't know, I just think this Olympics thing is pretty serious. If you imagine if you're a athlete that had been selected to represent your country, you take it pretty seriously. You'd want to make sure you ate right and you did all the exercise you're supposed to and had all the rest and all the sleep and all the physio and all the you basically be trying to get the best coach you possibly can. You want to do the best you possibly can, and you wouldn't leave anything to chance. And I think you'd sort of think everything's important. You wouldn't be sort of just saying, "Oh, cool, I'll just rock up and just give it a go, and I'll try my best and just see what happens." You'd be trying to get as much advice and just make sure you did everything at your absolute peak performance, because you might only get one shot at this, and if this is your one shot, you want to make sure you do it right. How does that apply to property? I think the thing is, a lot of people, when they're buying property, they're just really relaxed about it, and they just quite, don't think it's a really big deal. But in reality, probably you only buy one or two, or probably three max for most people. Quite often people just buy one or two properties in their entire lifetime, and when they go and buy a property, it's the biggest thing they've ever done. It's the most. Hey, Leanne, thanks for joining. So it's the biggest thing they've ever done, and it's the most expensive thing they've ever bought before. And in reality, they're actually spending a lot more money than they actually have, because most people have to borrow money to buy a property. So in say in Adelaide, where you're buying a property for $400,000, you might only have 10 or 20% of that, which might be $40,000 or $80,000. Then you're paying stamp duty on top of that. So thanks for the like. So stamp duty in Adelaide's around about 5%. So you're going to pay another $20,000 worth of stamp duty. So just to buy one property at the average price, that's like $100,000 you're putting in. But on top of that, you're also borrowing money off the bank for another, $300,000+ as well. So, when you look at actually what you're paying for a property and you're incorporating, paying interest off over 30 years, you end up paying pretty much double the price of what the property is actually worth by the time you've actually paid it off. So it's a pretty serious thing, and it's pretty important. And I think too many people just go out and, buy a property on a whim. They rock up, they go, "Oh, this looks really nice, I like the area, let's just buy it." And when I'm having a chat to people and I'm talking about their property, I'm saying, okay, so where's the sewer connection, and where's the water meters, and is there any easements, or is there any tree issues, or is there any encumbrances? And invariably the answer will be, I don't know, I haven't even thought about any of that sort of stuff. So, and yet they're willing to commit, say $100,000 of their money plus another $300,000-$400,000 in a loan they're borrowing as well. And remember, by the time they paid it off, they're probably, paid off, $800,000-$900,000 by the time they paid back the bank. So this is a massive commitment. They're committing to this over the space of 30 years, and yet they haven't done the research up front or put in the time to make sure they're doing it right up front. So I'm just sort of, letting people think about it. It's, if you were going to the Olympics, you'd put all the effort in to make sure you got everything right. And if you didn't want to put that effort in, that's fine. But you try and get some people that come in here and give you some advice and make sure they've checked everything for you. So in the world of property, it's exactly the same thing. You need a conveyancer, and you need a mortgage broker. You need a real estate agent. You need depending if you're doing a subdivision, you need someone to guide you through the subdivision process. You need a surveyor. You need some sort of development consultant, someone to come in and just sort of say, hey, okay, what do I need to know about, not just whether you can subdivide, but whether you should subdivide. At the end of the day, if you're going to do a subdivision, you want to make sure it's going to be profitable at the end of it. You're going to commit, hundreds of thousands of dollars to this development, and you get to the end of it, if you've lost money, particularly if you're just starting out, then that might be your one chance of it, and you're never going to get a chance again. So, it can be the same as the Olympics. If the Olympics, and to be honest, it's probably even worse for you than it is for someone going to the Olympics. At the end of the day, if they go to the Olympics and they missed out, I don't know what it costs to go to the Olympics, but maybe, $10, $20, $30,000 or something to pay for your airfare and your flights and your accommodation and all that sort of stuff. And then you missed out. You can say, oh, well, it was a good experience anyway, and then I've got a story to tell my kids. But the thing about buying a property, it might not be as easy as that. You're committing a lot more money. This is probably all the money you've saved up in your entire, it might have taken you 10, 20, 30 years to save up that money, and you're committing that to a property. If you've made a mistake, to get out of that mistake, because you paid stamp duty to buy the property, and then you've got interest while you're hanging on to the property, and then a real estate agent's fees to sell it, you probably have to make, just 10% on your money just to break even. So quite often, if you bought a property, you've made a mistake, and you decide, hey, well, I made a mistake, what do I do now? If you decide to sell it, you're behind the eight ball already. You've really got to wait for the market to go up, Problem is, you're waiting for the market to go up. You're missing out on all these other opportunities that you could have bought somewhere else, where the market could have been going up somewhere else, and you could have had a good property that you could have been actually making some money out of. So I suppose my advice to you is really, really be considerate. Really decide, okay, if I'm going to do this thing, I want to do it right. I want to make sure I get all the information up front. If I'm analysing a project for a subdivision, it might be 200-300 pages worth of information I go through just to make sure we've covered everything. Because the problem you get is like, oh, I'm only going to check one or two things. It's the things you don't check which are going to be the problems at the end of the day. And those things with the world of property, they can be worth $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. And that's a very big mistake for someone to learn. And it's something they might not be able to learn from, because if they don't have the opportunity to do it again, then that mistake is of no benefit whatsoever then. So yeah, just make sure you get all the information up front. Even when I'm doing a property assessment for someone, helping them make the decision on whether they want to buy a property, it's still, a couple of hundred pages of information we go through just to make sure we've covered everything they possibly can. Because, everything's important. Just like if you're going to get in the Olympics, I'm sure everything's important. Not that I've been to the Olympics, but as far as property goes, everything matters and everything's important. So you've got to make sure you've covered everything you possibly can. So, get some advice from people you really trust and just make sure you're making the right decision. So hopefully that's made sense. If you like what I had to say, then click on the like button. If you haven't liked what I had to say, then still click on the like button, because I really appreciate it. And if you know someone's thinking about making a decision on a property, then yeah, click on share and share this video. I'm sure it'll make them think twice. Again, I'm not saying not to go out and buy a property. I'm just saying, make sure you're doing it with your eyes open and you're totally aware and informed before you make your decision, I suppose. So if you've got a comment, feel free to comment in the comments box. If you've got something else you'd like me to talk about in a future episode, Olympics based, I'm happy to try and talk around some sort of property Olympics based question, which is be interesting to see what my topic is tomorrow. So we've had Rachel Rackle and Leanne has joined us. So thanks for joining, and thanks for the kudos, Leanne. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to catching up with you guys again soon. Bye for now.